Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is your host of BT's Ballers, Brad Thompson, along with our college hoops MD, Coach Brian Tass. Coach, how you doing today?
Really, really good. Really, really
Yes,
good.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. I'm doing quite well, too. But probably for a different reason. But we will get to that down the road. Hey, let's get right into it. Michigan Auburn. Auburn was just too much for Michigan. I mean, they had three players in double digits. Michigan had no answer for Johnny Broom, 26 and 16. All right, what are you gonna do? Uh, Michigan had definitely too many long stretches of not scoring, and that is just something that you can't do against a team like Auburn. Uh, I think Auburn had an answer for everybody, but Danny Wolf did have 12 and 6. Uh, just overwhelmed. So, what are
Yeah,
your thoughts?
yeah, overwhelmed. My thoughts initially were at halftime. If I had been watching that game with no interest, I would have turned it off after about 5 minutes. That was the worst game of the tournament, and it's not even close. Both teams came out and did I don't know what. It was terrible basketball. Uh, jacking shots, not running offense, turning it over, clueless. Horrible first half for both teams. Michigan continued a little bit of that into the second half, and that's why they didn't win. And I think what I've said about their team was they had a great season. They did a lot of nice things. But I think offensively, the things that caught up with them were not having an organized thing to go to. They didn't have an identity. Wolf did what he could to keep the team afloat. Their guards didn't do a whole lot, and that ultimately was their downfall.
Yeah, we talked about Michigan having to have basically an A or an even an A plus game in this, and obviously they did not. It was pretty brutal. Neither team really could hit the ocean from the beach, if you know what I mean. And it just it was the game where Auburn. I don't think Auburn played their best, but they showed what they can do. Uh, they're gonna have to play their best from here on out. But we've been saying that about a lot of teams. So I do want to give credit to Dusty May. I mean, the guy came in. He came in to a program that was in shambles. They were in last place. If anybody would have told most people that he's gonna, finish third in the Big Ten, they're gonna win the Big Ten tournament, and they're gonna make the Sweet 16. I mean, outside of the incredible job that Izzo did this year, you can make a real case. In fact, you could say that Dusty May was Coach of the Year. So, but
Yeah,
happy for him. He's got the program going in the right direction. So, Michigan fans should feel confident that hopefully they're turning that corner and being back to what they once were under John Beeline. So, but
yeah.
that remains to be seen. To the game, MSU and Ole Miss back and forth. Ole Miss showed up. Their defense was absolutely outstanding. I mean, they clogged the zone. It was real tough. Michigan State, at least in my opinion, looked confused on offense sometimes. However, to their credit, it's not about when you take the shots, it's about when you make the shots. And they hit their threes more than I've watched them a lot this year. And it's sure like they were draining threes at the right times. Also, Jace Richardson had a picked a great time to have a great game in the tournament. If he doesn't do that, they don't win. I mean, that's just they just don't win. And obviously with Ole Miss only running 8 out there, very tough to stay up on Michigan State began running. I thought a little bit more to wear him down. You got to give your flowers to Padula though. That's a hell of a ball player. If you really want to take it a step, and this goes way back in Michigan State lore, I thought he had a little bit of Scotty Skiles in him. I did. I did. Now, that's high praise. Don't get me wrong. Skiles is up there in Michigan State lore, but reminded me of that. And I think the key was Dia checking out with fouling out. That made things a little easier. But I'll tell you what. I sent you last night. I sent you a nice picture of Colin Carr. All right. Now I hope you take that. I hope you take that to a CVS, whatever they can do, and I hope you can get a big size of that because that should go up in that man cave right behind you there. That
Yeah.
photo is unbelievable, and I'll tell you what, that reminds me of some way back Kenny Battle days from Illinois. He was left-handed, and that was a tomahawk shot, man. I mean, announce your authority, announce your presence with authority, as Bill Rafferty used to say. So, but
Mm-hmm.
your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts? Take your
Yeah.
time here. A lot to unpack.
Yeah. 100% agree. Ole Miss came out with gasoline on their pants and a match lit. They they came out with a pace on defense that was unbelievable. Um, my whole thought of this game was we were going to have to wear them down, and our bench was deeper than theirs, and I think that is what happened. You came out in the second half and you saw a team that was a little bit worn out, slower. Michigan State kind of got some things organized and survived. Listen, offensively, Michigan State looked bad last night, and I said it multiple times. We looked bad. We looked confused. We didn't do the things that we were kind of fundamentally built on this season, and there's a reason for that. And listen, Izzo is a genius at this game. He put a lineup out there last night that I think was probably more athletic and able to handle some of the pressure that was coming, and be able to play at the pace that Ole Miss wanted to play at. So we were a little smaller. We didn't have our two forwards out there that we usually have at the beginning of the game. He made a starting lineup change. So what happens when you do something like that is things get a little out of sync. So our offense looked a little out of sync. We didn't have some of the go-to ball screens that we had, usually in the offense, and so I think that's namely the reason why we looked a little bit out of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
But we picked it up. Second half, I think we played a little bit better. We got to the cup a little easier, and that was kind of our game plan. Guys stepped up on defense. Listen, Cohen Carr had a great game. He had I know he had the best dunk you've seen in years, but he had a great game from the defensive standpoint. He covered ball screens pretty well. He hit a three. He got some rebounds. Went to the rim. Again, a difference maker on a team that's a pretty deep bench. Carson Cooper came in again and did a hell of a job getting rebounds and putting in a couple of buckets, some free throws. This team has been so fun to watch, and they're going to run into the number one team in the country, the number one seed in Auburn, and they're going to have to do some things. But last night, what a gritty game by the Spartans.
Yeah, that's what it takes to win. We're at the point now in this tournament where it's not win and advance, it's survive and
Mm-hmm.
advance. And that was pretty much a game where, it was hard nosed basketball. All right, what do you think about Kohler too? I really think that first of all, I love his hair. I wish I had hair like him. I had hair like him back in the '80s, man. I really did. I'm telling you, I can show you pictures. But that was a guy, in my opinion, who was the unsung hero. I just like the way this guy plays the game. I do. He's an inside warrior a little bit, and he can get you the big bucket when you need it.
Yeah, he came in on a mission. When his minutes are up, when he's in there and it's his shift, he's going to give you everything he's got, and that's exactly what he did last night. He came in and guarded the post. He came in and wanted the ball, demanded the ball in the post because he knew we need to have some scoring in there. We need to have some opportunities in the paint. And yeah, you're right. He came off the bench and did a hell of a job. The minutes Frankie Fiddler again. He just every time we get on here, I say Frankie Fiddler, one of my favorite guys on the team because he's definitely not on a poster today. Definitely not with that face, and he is definitely not on a poster by his stat sheet either. But if it wasn't for that guy, we don't win last night again either. I'm telling you right now.
Just once again proving that the sum of the parts are greater than the whole.
Yep.
This is a team, and we'll get to it tomorrow because I got a big question for you on that tomorrow, or maybe even after the preview. But we'll
Yeah.
see. But hey, moving on. Tennessee, Kentucky, pretty much what I thought we'd expect. Tennessee. I love your pick for the Final Four there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still gonna stay. We'll get to it. Kentucky wasn't going to shoot 3 games in a row against them 50%. They just weren't. It just wasn't going to happen. Uh, they led throughout the whole game. It. Zakai Lanier. He had a double double. It wasn't a clinic that Tennessee put on, but it
No.
shows, what? Tennessee came in with what they had to do to Kentucky. People were talking about, oh, it's another matchup then. Kentucky's got their number. The hell they did. Okay. Kentucky just said, or I'm sorry, Tennessee just said, you know what, we're here, you're done, we're moving on.
If you're watching this, it's because you love sports. If you love sports, why not show that love with some new gear, like the two jerseys behind me? Fanatics has a lot of stuff on sale right now, and if you go down in the description, click the link of whatever team that you want, it'll take you to the Fanatics page, buy some stuff, and we get a small portion. It'll help us out, and you'll get some discounts on some good gear.
Yeah, so it's a difference in just a little bit better team than a better team. That's all. I mean, both teams played
Mhm.
okay. Tennessee didn't do anything extravagant. They did do what they do. Kentucky gave them their best shot, and that's the end of the day. If that game gets played 10 more times, it's probably going to be 8 to 10 of the nine. Same outcome. Same outcome. You just got
Right.
a better team. Tennessee's
Mhm.
a better team.
Yeah. Tennessee is a hell of a ball club. Rick Barnes, I think he moved around, a little bit, but you know what? I don't think that Rick Barnes gets his credit for how good of a basketball coach he really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's done some amazing things wherever he's been, and he's a good teacher of the game, and I think he's a really good guy. And at the end of the day, I know he's well respected in coaching.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Kudos to him. Kudos to him. Uh the game that last that basically finished last night was Purdue. Again, I say Purdue against Houston. We'll get to the controversy at the end here, of course. Not heartbroken for Purdue, I'm just gonna say, but I am gonna say Purdue. You know what? That's what good rivals we are. That's what good fans we are at IU. We are Purdue. Hell of a game, hell of a season. I don't respect your university, but I respect your basketball club. I hope that makes basketball team. I hope that makes sense. Uh, Houston finally got through. They got over that Sweet 16 pain they've been having a little bit. Milo Uzan, I hope I pronounced that correct. 6 3-pointers. He really filled in that role. For Houston for L.J. Cryer. L.J. Cryer did come up with some key shots in the second half of the game, but he was stone cold in the first. Purdue again. Down 10. Fletcher Lawyer brings them back. They showed some toughness. I mean, they went at them. And quite frankly, maybe I'm not going to say they didn't. They deserve to win, but I don't think they deserve to lose at that juncture of the game. You know, Milos Uzan scored with 2.5 seconds left from under the basket. I don't think that he should have had that opportunity because I think it was actually just a foul that anybody would call, especially the way they've been running these games in the tournament. They haven't, this was outside of the norm, and it should have been a foul called. I do feel bad for. Let's just be professional here. I do feel bad for Purdue because they did get hosed. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Going up to that though, Houston had pretty good control of that game. Purdue played pretty good. But they had the final run. Purdue was on the final run. I mean, they were posed to win that game on Lawyer's back. They had guards played really well down the stretch, on both ends. I think defensively, Purdue got it done and played good enough to have a chance to win that game. I was kind of rooting for them at the end because they had been down and they shouldn't have been down and have a chance at the end, but they did, and the circumstance was that they could have won. Um, and yeah, congratulations to them. Great season. 5 players that started for Purdue were Purdue guys. They played
Yeah,
all of their time at Purdue. I think that's respectable as well. And that great program. But the last play of the game there, where what you're talking about is Purdue gets driven on, it was a clear out. It's a clear displacement of the defender where was the defender stopped and set and standing there like a statue? No, he was on his way backwards, but it was a displacement of space that should have been called an offensive foul. It wasn't one of these things where you dribble drive in to the basket and you kind of shoulder a guy. It wasn't that. It was a complete clear out. And you can watch it again, but I just disagree with the call. It should have been an offensive foul. Purdue's ball. We could have maybe had a different ending.
yeah. Am I heartbroken? No, obviously not. But I don't think a game of that First of all, that magnitude. And second of all, as hard fought as it was, that game should not have been basically, oh, how do I want to put one, or basically, that was the foremost point of Houston getting the nod. It
Yeah.
it wasn't. Purdue got hosed. Not a big fan of pointing the fingers at zebras and things like that. But again, you come that far, game of that magnitude, no. And people are saying, well, let the boys play. That's fine with me if you want to let the boys play, but they better have played that way through the whole goddamn tournament. And the whistle should have been that way through the whole goddamn tournament. And they weren't. So all of a sudden you decide to, oh, now we're going to call it. Well, you know
Yeah.
what? Shame on the officials. Just
Yeah.
shame on
No,
the
it was
officials.
in that circumstance. It wasn't a defensive initiated foul, which
Hmm.
in basketball, contact is a foul. Should be called. Sometimes it's not, because otherwise we'd never see any play. But the thing is that in this situation, the contact was initiated by the offensive player, and that's why I disagree with it.
Yeah, as do I. As do I. So again, I want to say some things about that basketball program for Purdue. We just talked about Rick Barnes. I respect the hell out of Matt Painter. I
Mm-hmm.
really do. I respected him. I respected him as a player at Purdue. There's a lot of players at Purdue that I respect, and it's hard to find some that I don't respect. I just don't like Purdue. But Matt Painter, I just it's just whatever. Matt Painter, he's one hell of a basketball coach. And yeah, they broke through last year. That's awesome that they did. And they broke through back in the day of Big Dog Robinson. I just wish, honestly, Painter needs to get more accolades because he just knows basketball. And you know what? Quite frankly, he is Purdue University.
Yeah.
Uh, well, that's because Purdue sucks in every other sport. But he they do he is Purdue University. I just wanted to point that out that I have so much respect for the man. I really do.
Well, he'll be around for a while. I mean, he's going to put some more numbers up there and have some more chances. He's not going anywhere, I don't think. So, we'll see him have some more chances to do some stuff.
Right. And his players aren't jumping into the portal, unlike my team. I don't want to go there though, but man, you said five Purdue guys. You know what? There's so much to fucking be said about that right now. There really is.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Before we get to the games, I do want to say this, and I texted you. Um, uh, what was his name from St. John's? Remind me. Do you remember? It was Lewis. Was his last name? I believe.
Yeah. The guy
Okay.
who sent the AJ Lewis, I think his name was.
AJ
He
Lewis.
uh he sat the last 5 minutes of the game. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, I was not shocked. Guess what? He says I love the way these guys mask this now too. Well, I'm going to get evaluated for the NBA, but I'm still going to go to the portal if it doesn't work out. Fuck you. You ain't good enough to go to the NBA right now. Your butt hurt. Okay, you are so fucking soft. Your butt hurt. Oh, because I didn't get to go in there at the end. And Coach Pitino, I can't play for a Hall of Fame coach with 2 titles. No, it's just too hard. You disrespected me on national TV. Oh, I'm gonna go to the portal. Take your fucking tampon out, you mother scratcher. Learn to not shoot 3 of 17 and overcome adversity. But hey, I digress. Look at the society we live in.
Yeah. The lesson for him is, that's how he's going to do the rest of his life. It's always going to be somebody else's fault that he didn't do it.
Right. I mean, like I tell my players, like I tell my students, when you're pointing a finger, just remember you got four looking back at you too. So, all right, well, enough of that diatribe I just went on. I hate it. My thoughts. I hate it. I hate it. Looking at today though, we got a matchup of Florida Texas Tech. Texas Tech has slowly, like a silent assassin, gotten all the way to the grade 8. Uh, I'm not going to sit here and say they played the toughest of roads here. I really don't. Arkansas gave them everything they had, but Arkansas, I mean, they're a 10 seed. And they played tough. Calipari did his best. You know, so they're going up against Florida. They don't match up well at all. Florida, they took care of Maryland. They took care of UConn. They're handling their business against some pretty goddamn good teams. Obviously, we know UConn. They went up against the freshman Big Ten Player of the Year in Derek Queen. Now they get Texas Tech. I think if they just handle their business, this is going to be an 8 to 10 point game. But then again, I could be wrong because these games are going to be close. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I see it as a similar game to what we saw with Tennessee and Kentucky. I think you just have a discrepancy of two teams that are really good, and Florida is better than the really good team. That's just it. They got a couple good players that play consistently pretty well with scoring averages that are up in the 20s. Florida has been a little inconsistent offensively against teams that are good in the post, which Texas Tech could expose a little bit. And Texas Tech's a little bit prone to some turnovers, which won't end up well against Florida. So again, I'm giving Florida a decent edge on this one just for being a better all around team.
Right. And this is going to be kind of like the Michigan Auburn game. Texas
Yeah,
Tech is going to have to play A plus, and I'll be honest with you, Florida's just going to have to play like a C for Texas Tech to have an opportunity. I'm not saying it's going to be a mollywhopping, but Florida comes out, does their job, then then they're going to have a spot in there. So on to Duke and Bama. This is not going to be an easy game for Duke. All right, because Bama's got their mojo back. Okay, they're going to come out. They're going to be flying. They're a high-scoring team. Can they go toe to toe with Cooper Flag and Proctor? I don't know. I don't know, but I'm not saying they can't. I think Duke wins this game, but this could be something that we're talking about. Hey, man, you know what? This was a hell of a ball game. Again, one of the best games in the tournament. Duke is Duke, but Bama's playing well.
yeah.
Thoughts?
I think this game will come down to scenarios. Any game, there's some scenarios. A guy gets in foul trouble. That creates a whole different scene on your bench, your rotations, the way you attack offense or the way you defend. And I think one or two scenarios like that, either way, could make a difference in this game. I think it'll be tight. Alabama's going to play with some firepower. Can they sustain that an entire game? They've got four good guards that are pretty well versed on the outside and can get to the basket. Um, Cooper Flag. I mean, the guy's amazing. Okay, the guy's amazing. Is he going to have an A game today, where he does his thing, or does he get a little stuck for once and then Duke has a problem? I don't know. I still give the edge to Duke. I think they've got the overall better scorecard for the season. They've played consistently better. Alabama loses by a few.
Yeah, again, I'd agree. I may be on an island here, but I think if those Bama guards, I think if they go right at Flag, go right at him. What do you got to lose? You're playing with house money here.
Mm-hmm.
Go at Flag, get him back kind of stepper. Get him in foul trouble, whatever the hell it takes. Use all 12 guys. Use all 12 guys on Cooper Flag today. See what happens. See what happens again. You got nothing to lose. It's a shot in the dark, but I think this game's going to be close. Flag may down the stretch wear him out a little, but I do think it's going to be close. Foul the hell out of him. Just get him tired. Probably won't, but that's just my 2 cents. I don't know. You know,
Well, yeah, he's used to getting everybody's best shot, so
yeah, yeah.
I don't think he'll get worn down at that. Or yeah, you're right. Throw different looks at him, help different, trap, do something. You got to do something different because look, Alabama, you're the underdog. No matter how you slice it coming into this, so if you want to make it to the Final Four, you better do something goofy.
Well, that's what I was thinking. But hey, Oates knows a hell of a lot more than me. So I mean, it should be interesting. But hey, that's the two games. I mean, our episodes are getting shorter and shorter because it's tightening up here and it's dwindling here. So, but hey, enjoy the rest of your day. We got two good games this afternoon and this evening. So
Should be
he's
good.
the coach. Yeah, he's the coach. Brian Tass, our college basketball hoops MD, and for BT's Ballers, Coach, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All righty. So for BT's Ballers, I'm Brad Thompson, and we out.